모닝 파워! 모닝 터보!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Jinair SSL series here, SSL Challenge tonight. We're about to jump into our third best of three of the night. Will be Deer versus TY. Another PVT for you guys who love this matchup.
Yeah, I'm just feeling really good. I got to see Beyond's puppy there in that previous segment during our
Made me really
break,
happy.
So get that warm puppy feeling inside. Definitely a puppy person. If you guys are not puppy people, you got to check yourself. Puppies are great. Even better when they belong to world champions. Apparently that also just makes them cuter and better.
He has really good choice in puppies. That's a really cute puppy.
Puppy also did not want to go back in that crate at the end.
That puppy's made for greater things than going in the crate. It's Beyond's puppy. Let's be real. That's going to win the dog puppy world championship at some point.
I've watched that before, man. It's
maybe for StarCraft and
StarCraft
4 for dogs. Yeah, like we were talking about before.
What is the name of that dog show tournament thing that they have for all the puppies and stuff? It's not. It's Wimbledon's for tennis, but it's something like that. It
some fancy British
like
name.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a name for it. This is like /RTOMT.
You guys could tweet it at us.
All right. That's neither here nor there. I'm just trying to derail the conversation and fill time because we don't have a third English commentator like our Korean counterparts.
Like Ren, the puppy. How great would that be if we could just cast with I've got the puppy and then next time you've got the puppy?
If I had a puppy, I would not be casting, man.
Yeah, it's like actually half a caster.
Casting
it's like
baby
1.5 casters. If we have the puppy, it doesn't add a caster, it adds a less.
It subtracts?
Less caster.
Adding in reverse is subtracting, Brennan.
Yeah. It subtracts half a caster. There we go. You've got my back when it comes to math stuff.
I do.
Here you have a couple of degrees in that stuff.
You wouldn't know it from watching my math skills here. All right, well, this is Deer, and much like his Bambi predecessor, he is going to have to watch out for the large wooded clearing. And that clearing is going to come in the form of TY coming up. He's also got some hunters lying in wait, and something tells me that the mother deer here is maybe not meant for as many greater things as Beyond's puppy.
He looks really stressed right now.
To be fair, though, his opponent, TY, might look kind of stressed as well. He did have to play his group earlier today. However, I think playing is probably a pretty good analysis of what TY did to that group. He was just playing around, went in, bopped some nerds, made it out first to his group, and looked great.
Both of these guys are actually third in their group. TY, he made BCs and lost to Classic. That's part of the reason why he did only get out in third. But this guy, I mean, he had a GSL group earlier, but like you said, it wasn't the hardest group for him, but he's got to be tired. Yeah. He's taking a nap right now.
Yeah, TY always looks tired when he comes here.
That's true.
There's another player that just always looked tired, kind of like Ryung, just looked a little bit overly chilled out. TY just looks tired all the time. He's gets done doing some jumping jacks, and he's drinks a pound of coffee, and he's just falls
pound
asleep.
Of coffee.
Yeah, which somehow is drinkable now. I don't know my metric units, man. That's a
pound of coffee.
Either way. All right, here
it's also a lot of coffee. Maybe it's a pound's worth of coffee, the British pound. Anyway, here's the map list.
Well played. Daybreak, Overgrowth, Frost, Belshire, Vestige, and Abyssal Reef. Somebody tried to say Abyssal to me yesterday. I was like, that's about as bad as
I like Vestige.
Vestige. Is that like fragile instead of fragile?
Yeah. Vestige. Belshire, Vestige. Oh, yeah, the mosquitoes.
That's right there, man. I'm keeping an eye on it for you. Don't worry.
It's coming.
Don't move anything.
If we killed a mosquito on camera, that would be...
That would actually
help broadcast ratings for sure.
They have to call PETA on our broadcast. We're not respectful of life that wants to suck the blood out of my body.
Is there a group that's for mosquito rights? It's I don't like that you spray a bunch of stuff to kill all these mosquitoes. They're living beings, too.
I feel like if there was a group that tried to defend mosquitoes, they'd also get called a lot for ex-girlfriends too, but that's neither here nor there, and neither is the mosquito.
Oh, yeah, it's gone. That's
It's
good.
actually gone
Okay.
now. Yeah. We've scared it away with our terrible jokes, just like
There we
most
go,
of
that's
our
good.
viewers. Well, thanks. To be real, guys, thanks for sticking around for the entirety of our first stage, making it here to our second stage. We are here on YouTube, so if you guys want to help us out, let your friends know, or your parents, or your...
The mosquito's back.
It's back, Brendan. You got a hashtag big fan right there.
He really...
These lights are pretty hot. He's trying to cool you off.
He just wants to have a taste, I think. It's okay. Well, actually, it's not okay. Not for the mosquito.
I feel like Nick Plott was just really scared of mosquitoes, so he tried to scare them away by telling them that his blood was tasteless. Yours apparently might be pretty delicious. Maybe they're
that's
into
what
that
Valdez
spice.
stands for. It's Spanish, you know.
Yeah, it's because
You guys could look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
The delicious Cuban blood.
Maybe
I don't know where we're going with
salmon
this.
blood, man.
Yeah.
So this
actually,
is
that
the
makes
weird
a lot
part
more
of our
sense.
broadcast where like the big fluffy bear with the special guest tag joins our Korean commentators, and they get into this sort of like embroiled discussion about something that actually is just completely not relevant to what's going on. And so they have three people wildly discussing something in Korean, and then there's us. Like, and somebody
Hey, we have the
thought,
mosquito, man.
okay, well, we're the mosquito.
That's
If we didn't have
good.
that guy, we would be in trouble.
It's the second stage mosquito. That's
Somebody
our
thought that
mascot.
putting two awkward white guys on camera and having them talk about video games was a good idea. I want to meet that guy and shake his hand for my job.
It's worked out so far. You know, down the line, you like just puke over the side. You're just like, oh no. That's what it looked like when you made that face.
Okay, yeah, in
Anyway.
case you guys can hear it like in the periphery, I don't have a cough button, and I'm a little bit under the weather. Much like these games, I too have been a little bit sick, so it's been a little bit of a struggle also for me to lift my mic. I still haven't coughed directly into the mic, so
Not yet.
one day that will happen,
Waiting.
Brendan. Rip
Waiting for
headphone
it,
users.
It's okay. But what do you think about these matches? Do you think Deer has a chance? Do you think he's going to take one game? That's my question.
Deers, woodland creatures, matches, not great things to use in the middle of forests. It's when you need Smokey the Bear to come out. Apparently Smokey now no longer exists. He was like defunded or something. And now it is truly only you that can stop forest fires.
Surprise to me.
I just saw a political meme about that, so that's what I'm going off of. That's where I learn all of my world news, Brendan.
r/stank memes.
It has to be given to me in picture form.
I see.
We talked about illiteracy and how important it is.
There needs to be a joke made about it in order to for it to get through.
You know, that is actually like surreally, I don't know, sobering. Because I'm sure there are people that actually just learn about things from like things that are posted on Facebook. Well,
Definitely.
don't be one of those guys. Be the guys that watch Deer versus TY in our last game of the night, or in our last series of the night. It is a best of 5, so if you're just now tuning in to watch TY, well, the TY to you guys. But also to Deer, maybe an uphill battle. TY looked great today as he got out of his GSL group. Will he still look great tonight, or will Deer make TY look into the headlights instead?
Whoa. Okay. I like that. That was good. I don't know, man. I'm not on the Deer hype train. I have to say, he had trouble against Jogji in the series. I'm just going to throw that out there. He almost lost to Jogji in a best of 3, and one of the games that he won, it was not very impressive. So I hope this guy has done a bit of practicing going towards his most important game here. It looks like we're going to introduce this guy in the bottom left first, the blue Terran. It is TY. Okay, it looks like we're not going to have camera shots at all.
That stuff. Nope, we are straight into the game,
Did
guys.
the camera guy just leave?
We've got stuff to talk about. That stuff is an idle probe, which will build a gateway in base.
There we go. So, Deer versus TY. And TY is definitely a guy that loves to focus on multitasking. Daybreak, I think, is a fantastic starting map for him. I think this is one of the maps where he can really just out-multitask, out-micro Deer, and just outplay him in general. I don't think he's going to do anything weird. I think we'll just see pretty straight up. But as I do say that, he does start with the CC first.
Yeah, so CC first, and ideally, if you are or consider yourself to be a superior player, you want to traditionally go for very safe builds, and I think this is a version of that mindset here from TY. Just because throwing down a command center first is very risky if you're getting proxy Oracle, but for the most part, this is going to give you a tiny economic advantage, and from here on out, he can just switch into either maximum defense mode, defend that advantage, make his base, and then defense it, and then maybe look to play a slower style. See what he wants to go for, because he is definitely macroing behind that with 3 racks in base.
Yeah. We saw this out of Bjorn, actually, in one of the games that he CC firsted. Is actually, if you can get the CC out and you don't want to go for the fast 3 CCs, which we very rarely see in this matchup nowadays, and you want to punish the Protoss' third base, well, you follow up with 3 barracks and you get a bunch of Marines with stim, and you have the economy to do it very fast because of that CC first. It's a nice build to get you on even footing. It also gives you enough Marines to deal with the Stargate play that we see oh so often out of these Protoss players.
And just as Deer throws down his natural, TY will be there to scout it. Good timing, SCB.
He threw it on the ground. He threw that Nexus on the ground, man.
Is that what you do with Nexi?
Yeah. I don't know, that's just the way that I say everything. He's going to throw the Nexus down. He's going to throw a couple barracks down here.
I never understood why that is the phrase that we use for building things. We could just say construct.
Not everybody says that. Construct is like the fancy way. You're like, oh, I'm Mr. Fancy Pants Caster with the top notch.
We are. Oh my god, he might actually.
Oh my god.
Wow.
He didn't recall. He just decided, okay, I think I'm going to get away.
Well, I think once you take that first hit, there's no way you make it out with recall.
I think if you immediately recall, you can.
Well,
it's going to be the better chance than 100% losing it to the 4 Marines. So,
well, look at how safe TY is playing. He is making a very fast turret in his main, and I mean that will be for the Oracle, which we can see coming out. But he's building a turret whereas we've seen almost every other Terran player tonight just forego turrets almost completely and then lose a ton of SCVs because of it.
That's what TY's about. There's a reason why he's so good at holding off cheese, holding off weird stuff, and just being good defensively early on in the game is because he doesn't cut corners. I mean, he goes CC first, but then he goes as safe as literally possible from there. Makes 2 missile turrets and just makes constant Marine production for a while before he even builds that tech lab.
Yeah, and even just look at that timing for the missile turret up just as the Oracle came back around for another pass.
Yeah, I think when Bjorn went for this build, he made the tech lab right away, and he got the gas a little bit faster, but not the case here for TY. Wanted to get out a couple more Marines, and so far this Oracle has done pretty much nothing. I think it's got 1 kill. The SCV that was building that.
Oh, good movement. He's going to pick this one off.
Ooh.
No. Wow, just barely. You can see Deer was not watching that, and good on TY for not issuing just an attack command there. Trying to get underneath it. Almost takes it out. TY is just in such a great spot. He's going to be adding on. Oh, he's going to get it again. Deer.
And this is what happens, these Protoss players that aren't as good at multitasking, at control, they leave their units out there, they're not constantly moving them on the map, and so they just lose it in weird ways like that, and that's just not supposed to happen, right? Classic loses it because he accidentally runs it into a Widowmine, but at least he's being very active with it.
Proactive even.
Yeah, proactive.
Trying to get out there, but Deer, no, he just walks forward and... I feel like Eminem wrote a song about that. Just lose it, and then I make the sound after that. That's the sound that losing oracles like that makes me want to make. All right, here we go. Stim completed. Gonna take 1 ball and move forward.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. I think it's just gotten that late. It's gotten just late enough for those jokes to work on me, Raffin.
Perfect timing. You're falling right into my clever plot,
here we
Brendan. Go. Okay, well, 1 soccer gets picked off, 1 very low, and you see that 1 behind. Only Marines for now, but here come out reactor medevacs, and that is going to make this a very scary bioforce to deal with. Now switching into Marauder production as well. More reactors coming up, and this is just going to be a lot for this tiny stalker flink ball to deal with.
Good poking up the ramp here by Deer. He doesn't want to actually commit, just wants to see if he can pick off some units. And TY, rather than go all in and make a couple extra barracks and really try to force the issue, he says, Yeah, dear. I mean, if you really want to go into a macro game against me, TY, the macro god, the multitasking god, then okay, fine, go ahead, be my guest. And I mean,
yeah.
I wish he had been a little bit more active with his medevacs, you know, and gone for some drops, but just playing it more defensive.
Deer does already have a third base up, so at least he'll have that slight economic advantage. Also extra chrono boost, so that means that you know, he should be in a good spot to deal with this. He'll see it, he'll scout it, he'll know what's coming his way, but can he stop it?
Well, he does have resonating glaives.
I expected a definitive answer, Omniscient Brendan. How do you not know?
I think the answer is yes. At this point in time, he should be able to hold off the just Marines. And he does have the blink. This is going to be 3 drops, though.
Yes, no, maybe so. All right, blink forward there. The Stalkers in the front. Big drop in the main.
So he takes a small little chunk of units out there. By the way, Widowmine's doing crazy damage at the third. Here's the 3 medevac drop that unpowers 4 gateways and the Twilight Council. I don't think it was researching anything, as he does have blink and resonating glaives already.
Yeah,
but a fantastic trade. 15 probes go down.
As well as unpowering all that, taking out the birthday pylon and making it a little bit more difficult for Deer to react. He'll get all 3 of those medevacs out of there, mostly full. 17 probes going down. Somebody told me yesterday to stop saying yikes. That is the only word I can think of to describe 17 probes taken out.
I'm gonna say, ooh. That's gonna be my
so
response.
Much of a
GG.
cop-out. Yeah, okay, that's
not a cop-out.
That's gonna be Deer's response to that.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, ooh, and then slowly backwards out of
That's that Homer
game.
Simpson back into the
exactly. Hedge. Yeah. He's had enough of that one. He's like, ooh.
Yeah,
no.
then you just like fade backwards. And you're like, yikes.
Yeah. Well,
I did it again.
It's kind of one of those games where we went into the series, we knew what we were getting into. Mm-hmm. It's like one of the 4 horsemen, right? And then it's Deer, who just barely got in 3rd place because someone else lost kind of in a weird fashion in his group, and he struggled against Jockji. I'll just state it again. So it's definitely a mismatch. TY is the heavy favorite in this matchup, and we kind of see what happens when these two go head-to-head. So it's not really too surprising to me, to be honest, Rapid.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't surprise me, but it does definitely feel like, you know, Deer was kind of led into the middle of the clearing with a trail of breadcrumbs. He's like, okay, let me just blink forward aggressively in my natural. Wait a second, this guy's a ton of drops, a ton of Marines. What if he just brings them into my base? I don't know. And, well, now you do. So game number 1 does go to TY, but it is a best of a 5.
Yeah.
And that means that there's still a chance for Deer to bring it back.
The other really cool thing is I slightly touched on it in that game, but while he was controlling his Marines in the middle of the map and while he was dropping the main, he also found the APM to sneak Widowmines into the 3rd base. And Deer just, it's like it never even happened in his mind because he could not keep up. He just could not deal with it.
You can't explain that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Our Protoss player spawning in the upper right-hand corner, down 1 game. This is... Okay, Deer. All right, I was worried if we weren't going to do intros at all this game as well. His Terran opponent, who we only saw for a brief moment there in the blue, is TY, and...
He's the one in the blue chair in the bottom right. If this is your first time watching StarCraft. The blue Terran is in the blue chair.
Wow.
And the yellow Protoss is in the red chair.
It's almost like we planned that, Brendan.
No one can explain why the Protoss is in the red chair and not the yellow chair.
Do we have a yellow chair?
That's the reason why he's in the red chair, and not the yellow chair. I said you can't explain it, but I just didn't want to.
I literally just explained it, Brendan. Checkmate.
I wonder if there is actually a yellow chair here in the next arena.
We don't have the budget for a yellow chair, man. Only red and blue.
There's black chairs, silver chairs. There are blue chairs, apparently.
There are many chairs like it.
Red chairs
are ours.
And gray chairs, the one that we're sitting in.
Those are pretty great. Pretty great as well. Very comfy form of butt. Just saying.
Yes,
all right.
True.
Speaking of butts, Probe now out on the map. God, I hate those guys. I was playing a ladder map because somebody told me that I couldn't be a caster unless I played the games that I was casting. So I went out, played, and I was. Was
that D1 who said that?
I
think
trying
I saw
to
that
be
tweet
innocuous here, Brendan. Thanks, man. Yeah, so I was trying to build my barracks at the top of the ramp. probe killed my SCV, I just cried a little bit, and then realized why I don't have to play this game. But it was actually pretty fun thereafter, even if I, am super chobo at everything. But, okay,
it's all good.
No proxies, nothing crazy going on right now. Right as I say that, the probe takes a very interesting route. I'm just waiting, watching what could be his evil machinations.
The weird thing about this is that the
probe.
pylon timing doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Like, the Stargate is already going down. I think he just wants to avoid the Reaper and maybe go for a follow-up scout.
Right, I think that's probably very accurate. I mean, he thinks he's being sneaky, but he doesn't know I can see him.
Everyone currently listening to our voices can see him.
I mean, it could be a ZVZ, and we'd still have observers.
Exactly. Everybody's watching. And 2 Hellions here on Overgrowth.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit interesting. I feel like Hellions just have not fared well for any of our Terrans who have built them here tonight. There's a little bit of damage done, I think, in game...
by Beyond, right?
Yeah, by
game
Beyond.
5.
But even that was not incredibly advanced. Looks like... Wow, one Marine going to get charbroiled right there. Why does the Marine suit turn black after it's killed by Adept Glaives?
Because it burned to death, obviously.
That is a mystery. All right, here comes in that sneaky probe. He was saving it for a rainy day. It looks like there's precipitation in the forecast, because here it comes. But also 2 Hellions looking to deal some damage. What's at the front, though? I think there is one Adept, but they're just going to go run on by.
Yeah, so much for your little Adept. As if the Hellions even cared. He focuses it down. Oh, man, he doesn't get that last shot. That's a bit unfortunate.
Wow, great defense. Only 2 probes lost. Very worth it for Deer. And last game we saw TY play a very sort of a macro defensive kind of style. I think it paid off very well. And we went forward. Deer just didn't have what it took to stop the push. So see if he tries to get something done that way here. Hiding a Widow Mine. I guess it's not hidden yet.
So, Deer, he made a forward pylon, and he will be warping in 3 slow stalkers. No gateway over here, nothing too crazy. And he's hoping to poke the front a bit. And with the build that TY did go for, with a lot of Widow Mines, I think that's 3 in total right now, and no bunker, it's going to kind of be a little bit awkward against these 4 stalkers to hold this off.
Continuing to hemorrhage Marines there at the front. That's the second one he's lost so far, and every single one counts. 2 Oracles coming forward, and wow, this is going to be a very strong push that TY might not be ready for.
Really good tag. It actually gets both of the Widow Mines at the natural. Meanwhile, taking a 3rd base, this is the kind of start that Deer needs in order to sneak a game off of a guy like TY. It's working out really well so far. All those Widow Mines going to be picked off, and GG.
Holy, get out! Deer tying up the series dominantly. I mean, if you had taken name tags off right there and if you had emailed me a random replay for me to commentate in order to make it in the big world of casting, and I had thrown it up on my my screen and been like, well, in my extrovert opinion,
I'm like, yeah, that's SOS.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
SOS is the king of going for these early punish or macro start kind of builds, and TY just fell flat on his face into it. So as much as maybe we consider Deer the underdog, he looked great.
Yeah, I mean, he just found that really kind of strange timing to come on in there when he basically only had Widow Mines, and that was pretty cool. He also, he saw the Hellions that were being made, and he was like, huh, maybe I can get away with this. But, I mean, he had that pylon out there, or rather that probe out there for such a long time that I think this was the idea from the beginning. I think all the pieces kind of came together in Deer's favor as the game went on, and Deer was, I wouldn't want to say lucky, but it was like a good read for what TY would do on the map, and it really worked out.
Yeah, and it's kind of like as Protoss when you lose your early Oracle, your opponent can be like, well, there's no real way for you to sneak in and kill all my workers, and you just lost a little bit of your army. Maybe I can just go all in and kill you. And that's exactly what Deer did. So that actually looked really, really solid. A great read of his opponent, a great build in order to punish him. And TY, I'm not sure if it was just a lack of scouting or what really led exactly to his demise, but did not have what he needed when he needed it. It's my expert analysis, Brendan.
Yeah. I mean, that's, exactly what kind of build he was going for when you make that many units only out of the factory. Not going to be all too good against that kind of rush play. So Deer steals a map. We'll see if he can run with that momentum and perhaps steal a little bit more. Maybe some words being exchanged here. As Deer smiling first and then TY following up with the smallest smirk I've ever seen on any human's face.
Wish we could see the cheeky bants in between games. Unfortunately, we do not have those on screen. Make sure to tell our producer that is something we need in the future. But in all seriousness, here we go. Game 3 coming up. Fly better fly. Our yellow Protoss player once again in the upper right-hand corner is Deer. And I'm not just trying to make him feel better.
Yes. And up here in the top left, it is the Blue Terran, TY. And I just realized we were talking about colors at the beginning of the other game, Game 2. TY is actually wearing a red shirt just to make it even more confusing.
Well, that's why you have to do things like, if you're listening to this as a radio broadcast, you're probably going to get a little confused as to who is what color where. But hopefully introducing them at the beginning of the game will make it a little bit more accessible. But here we go, a cross-spawn scout, or turning, or not. Okay, so he's going to scout vertical positions. However, TY is unfortunately for that probe horizontal. And that will make this a relatively easy start for our Terran player.
Yeah, part of the reason why 4-player maps are sometimes looked down upon is because of RNG components such as this, where it's like,
yeah,
if he's horizontal and I scout vertically, well, this is a gigantic disadvantage in the early game scouting. If he's proxying me, if he's cheesing, well, having a good scout would have saved me, whereas having a bad scout loses me the game. So
yeah, and you know, Brendan, this is something that I feel like is way different in the predecessor to this game, Brood War, where you'd have a lot of 3-player maps, very, very popular ones too. And at least then, if you fail the scout, you know exactly where your opponent is. If you are being proxied and you scout wrong the first time and you scout wrong the second time, well, you can just die. You're like, okay, well, I guess I'm just, you know, flying out into the wild blue yonder. This is basically a rendition of Lost in Space. But I don't actually think I've seen too many 3-player maps in StarCraft 2.
There was merry-go-rounds in Pro League. Fun map, as you can probably tell by the name.
As merry-go-rounds, yeah, or want to be.
Yeah. I didn't really like that map too much. I feel like it could be definitely better designed if they wanted to add in some more 3-player maps. This is a nice little pick. I don't believe he got that scout. I think maybe just barely at the end.
Our observer should show us. Yeah.
Nice.
Good observer. It is the observer, I was saying. But yeah, so he does get the scout. And I guess that's really all the information Deer needs to kind of know the full gamut of what could be coming his way. Unless you like do the MC where you build your base and they cancel it as soon as you deal with their scouting. Then you go all in into like 8 racks.
Then you 4-gate.
Man, I missed that. What a style.
Back in the day joints.
Back in my day.
Yeah, MC is considered like the
base cancel
an old man of StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2, I want to make sure I clarify that.
Yeah, definitely. Sentences like, I missed the 4-gate will get you beat up outside the studios. So
around these parts.
I want to be careful about what I say. Those are some dark days, but ooh, nice snag there on the Reaper.
Will he have an overcharge for the Hellions, though? Looks like Adepts will be the answer, as there's not even a pylon in position. 2 more kills, and he looks to get a scout. We'll see the robotics facility. Might even get a little bit more damage here. 1 more hit. 1 more, and that's going to be 4 probes in total, as well as a full scout of the bait. These Hellions, man, they've been pretty good, as long as you don't follow them up with 3 Widow lines and then the Protoss attacks you right away.
Great advice there, Brendan.
Yeah. Obviously, that was on Overgrowth, too, so different map.
Yeah, and so this is going to be Frost. It's a little bit bigger, and so instead of just, you know, trying to all-in TY and punish him for losing those early units, Deer is going to send that Warp Prism across the map, barely revealed by that watchtower, so TY should be ready for what's coming.
Yep, coming down here at the front, he will have a tank, actually.
This
is so cheeky.
The sneaky Widow Mine.
He has the probes targeted, okay. He's just waiting. He's like, really? Are you going to do it? Okay.
A good pushback. There is 1 Viking out. as if that was not visible on the screen. Just in case you didn't see it, it's
nice.
going to take out that Warp Prism. That is about the easiest.
That's really big, actually, because he doesn't have another one. So how are you going to pick up your Disruptor for the Disruptor drop? Answer me this, Rabbit. Do you have the answer to my question?
That. No, I do not. Another Widowmine tried to get there into the natural, but was overcharged out of there. So in the meantime, TY has at least tried to keep a little bit of pressure on, but has been, for the most part, unsuccessful. And I actually thought it was going to be Colossi again, but this time it is Disruptors very, very early. And, I mean, it could be into Disruptor drop, but whatever it is, will be scouted. Oh, he didn't see the Disruptor. Wow.
Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting. I think you should know this early on that it will be the Disruptors. So you can kind of just guess from there on out after seeing the Robotics Bay. Because rushing out Colossus, that doesn't really happen
Yeah, you kind of need stuff with your Colossus, whereas if you have that Disruptor, you can kind of just set it and not forget it.
That was like 2015 things on Outboxer where the Protoss is desperately trying to get out like 1 or 2 Colossi, and Maru's like, no, I'm just going to kill you anyway with Marauders.
It turns out you need additional support units. Whoa!
Okay, he is actually going to follow up with Colossi.
How about that whole everything you said, Brendan?
Well, I mean, you go into Disruptors first, you use it to try to buy yourself time to get those Colossi, but I don't think it's going to come out in time, and 1 Disruptor is not going to be enough to hold off this attack in the third.
If he had dropped that out of vision range of that Viking and then Disruptor down every tank, that would have been crazy. He's going to drop it right on top of the tank, maybe? No, that would be a bad idea. This is a crazy game of Speed Shuttle versus Viking. And yeah, I was just giving you a hard time earlier. There are enough units out, at least there should be, to allow some damage to be done here by this Colossus. Nice force field, but tanks behind that, pushing back Deer's forces.
Okay, trying to come on in here now. And no response here.
Oh
Man, that is huge.
13 probes, wow. Every headphone user just died, but so did those
Did the Colossus die?
I think it did. All right, well, the Disruptor did not die. The Speed Shuttle, though, is getting low. There is a Colossus. It does have that extended range. What is that going to do? Die. Yep. Okay, good answer, good answer. And Zealots on top of the tanks will not be enough. TY taking another game.
TY is laughing,
look at that smile, man. Knows it.
He can't even hide it. He's like, what the hell was that? I mean, yeah, nothing went well. Nothing went right in that game for Deer, right? He lost the Warp Prism.
He got a good Disruptor connection.
That build, nobody really does that.
We yelled more about what Deer did this game than we did about TY. That must mean that Deer is a more spectacular
more impressive play, right? Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he did look pretty spectacular in game number 2.
Yeah, had a cool build. I think he like snuck that one away. That's like when I'm trying to eat and then like I'm taking care of my friend's cats, as I told you, and one of them like sneaks up and like grabs a little bit of the food and runs away. I'm like,
I think they're so
what the hell? Usually I bat them away before that happens, but that was like Deer sneaking away game 2 from TY. And TY, I think he knows at this time that he is heavily favored and should be very, very confident going into game number 4 now. Deer, I think, you know, when we talk about trying crazy things against better opponents, generally we don't say like the super risky builds like that. Like, let's say TY doesn't attack, then maybe it works, but on a map like that, horizontal spawns where third base to third base or even natural to third base is pretty close, TY is always going to go over there and punish, and the Disruptor drop into Colossus build did not work on Frost.
Well, here we go. Our yellow Protoss player down on the bottom right-hand side of Velshire Vestige. I was about to say Velshire Vestige. His opponent's TY. He's Deer. What a series. What a night of games. I'm still kind of getting used to this new 3 best-of-5s format, Brendan. I do like longer series, and I think if you know, time permitting, it would be great to play best of 5s instead of best of 1s. Unfortunately, that would kill every caster on Earth. So we do have to preserve our own lives as well as the lives of our players who would then have to play a billion games.
Yeah, are people even going to watch 12-hour broadcasts anyway?
I don't know. I mean, there are some players, there's some matchups. Like, if I could watch Dark versus Innovation for like a best of 69, that would be a great weekend of games.
That'd be pretty legit.
They'd be like husks of the four of ourselves afterwards. But it's like GSL did this show called Revenge of the Loser Strikes Back, and that was the best of 11.
Yeah.
For players who had lost in GSL. And
I remember that.
Yeah, I actually think that was a really, really cool tournament style. And it was a little bit more casual. It was not in studio. It was just online. But it was just really cool to see an extended series. However, quite a few of them turned out to be quite the boppenings. And we've seen a few of those kind of games tonight, but it looks like TY kind of going with a very similar style to what he did earlier. 3 racks after expansion first.
This probe will come over here and be annoying. This is pretty standard. Curious to see if TY is just going to do the same follow-up that he did in Game 1, where he just made a bunch of Marines and went over and killed Deer. And Deer kind of lost stuff along the way, and eventually the Doom Drop plus Widowmine scuttle into the third base. Basically just killed him in one fell swoop. We are going to see the robotics facility again. And maybe he wants to try his luck again. Maybe this is a build that he's practiced specifically for TY and thinks he can get away with it given the right circumstances. Yeah, you know, you may be right about that, Brendan, because we've seen both Beyond did it once and then TY did the same thing. Fast Expo, 3 racks behind it, and then you just stim in and kill the Protoss when they don't expect it. But Deer will definitely expect that, and we know that he knows how to beat it. He's crushed TY once early on already, and it looks like he might be going for something similar. I mean, you were talking about basically only Marines coming on in. The push that we saw on Frost was really just like a tank Marine timing with a, it was a really strong follow-up push on after, and maybe that's what he wasn't expecting, but if you're going up against basically only Marines and Widowmines, then I think definitely, as long as you have some sentries to support, it should be enough. And I love this by TY, just using this Marine to see the timing of the third base. Now he kind of thinks, okay, well, it's not coming down super fast, but just checking here, seeing maybe if I can get some more scouting information by coming into the natural. Alright, so that Marine will finally get taken out by a couple of Adepts. Big surprise there, never happened before. But turrets coming up in the main, engineering bay up as well, and everything looks just really locked down here for TY. Relatively long distance across the map, and so I don't think this game is really going anywhere anytime soon. Both players will get their expansions. Yeah. And the first Colossus is out on the map. And you can see that this time Deer, on Frost, he tried to sneak that third base and kind of hope that TY would play more passively. But now he's just going to totally forego the third base before he gets some Colossi out to deal with the amount of Marines that are on the map. And I really do like that. I also like that TY's being good about his scouting. Wants to see what kind of follow-up this is. And I wonder if Deer is even going to consider a third base here. Yeah, I was about to say that. I don't think Deer is going to go for a third for a while. 3 gates coming up, while also supporting constant Colossus production and that extended thermal lance upgrade. I mean, that is not cheap. And so, what are those Adepts doing? They're trying to just thin this Marine force out. They do both shade out with their lives, but this is that timing you were talking about, Brendan. A lot of Marines out for TY. By the time this does hit, I think the second Colossus should be produced. Want to get another look at that. Yeah, would have been produced, would have been ready with the lances, but here we go. Yep, gateway next to it. Fast warp-ins will be coming in for Deer. Oh, the ever so classic 6-gate Colossus, 2 Colossus timing. I love this build. No, I'm just kidding. I hate playing against it. Wow, really nice. You see so many gateways and the Colossus popping out. Immediately a bunker starts. 2 bunkers,
3
3 bunkers.
All right.
Let's make some more bunkers, TY. The king of defense against weirdness. I think he's going to hold this.
Wow, yeah, 3 bunkers at the front, 2 more racks thrown up behind this, and oh, I love this, sending out a couple of drops at the same time.
Well, he knows basically just, 8 Marines isn't going to be fantastic against the Colossi, so trying to do that. Finally, the bunker does finish against the once of those force field. It is going to be burst down there, though. Really good force fields here by Deer.
He can't even go in there to repair it. He needs to just barely be able to, but no. Maybe he can rebuild the 3rd bunker, but even that will be targeted down. And this dropship force across the map will have to do a lot.
Yeah, this is beginning to become a problem. There are some adepts that were warped in over here for the defense, but the Marines are actually going to pick up and just go somewhere else. Question is, does TY have an answer to the army that's in his main?
There are double Vikings out. If they can take out the Colossus, then maybe. But Warpin's back at home, and so many SCVs going down. There's no way TY makes it out. GG!
Whoa, what a crazy build. I didn't think that was going to work, but it was just barely enough. It was just too strong. He didn't have the bunkers up in time.
A second more time for TY to prepare there. And he gets 3 bunkers up. He gets maybe SCVs in position to repair, and that could have been totally different. But really good timings in this series by Deer.
Yeah, and he actually forces it to a Game 5. So as critical as I have been in the totality of this series, Deer actually has a chance to upset TY in this best of 5. And I mean, I don't remember exactly the map that we do have for Game 5, but if it's another close one, maybe Abyssal Reef or something like that, there's definitely opportunity for some proxies or some weirdness. Yeah. We could see Deer win the series. This is real life.
Yeah, I'm just trying to not cough too much on air.
You're just trying to survive.
Yeah, I'm like, the mosquito got me earlier.
Trying to hold on.
Suffering.
Really,
what was that? If you guys remember VCRs, you used to have these cleaning tapes that you'd have to put in them to clean them, and there'd be a guy sitting back in the chair. Like, it was the logo for something else. I'm taking us way back there, but that's definitely the face I am making. Wow.
It's like the plane door is open, you're trying not to get sucked out.
Well, we'll see if perhaps craziness can happen and Deer can suck TY out.
TY's not laughing anymore. That's for sure. I think he got sat down after Game 4. He's like, oh, I still have to actually defeat this guy.
Yeah, and not as easy as he would have otherwise expected. And, to be fair, Deer's 2 wins came off of very sharp timings, seconds either way, and it's totally different.
Yeah.
So as long as TY can really just shore things up as far as I guess what he's prepared for, he should be pretty good. Coming into our final game of the night, Brennan, it has been quite a long day over here. I think we're just heading into maybe 2 o'clock.
Almost 1.
Almost 1, wow. All right, so our Protoss player in the yellow on the bottom right-hand side is Deer. TY's in the blue is Terran.
I called the Abyssal Reef.
And you did.
Nice.
So smart.
It's not like I wrote those maps down or anything.
No, man, if I had to cast this with Wolf, no, I'm just kidding. Super great to be able to work with you guys, and of course, for all of our audience online, big fan of working with you as well. Do you have any...
It's a team effort, guys. Everybody joining us here in the stream. You're all working together as one big StarCraft family.
If our audience can work a little bit harder at making me cough less, that would be a big help. Guys,
quick, someone come to the next arena and get him cough drops.
Right on that. If there's a doctor in the building, head on over.
Unfortunately, no audience for SSL Challenge.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of fans who messaged me and they're like, hey, can we come down and watch this? I'm like, well, I guess maybe. There's just nobody here. So it is very late at night. So if you're in Seoul, South Korea, you're probably tucking your kids into bed around this time.
Or you're going to the club. It's Saturday night at 1 a.m. Like
the cool kids
Depends
club.
on what point in your life you're at right now. Anyway, we do have the CC coming down. That probe actually almost killed an SCV. TY pulling that back just in time. Gonna save this probe. So he knows some units are coming on out with the Reaper Expand that TY is going for. What will Deer do this time? Will it be a robo play? Will it be the Stargate coming out into normal 3rd? Will he bring it back to standard for Game 5? Or perhaps try to make another robotics facility timing work. It looks like the Stargate will be the choice.
All right, so Stargate coming up back in the main. There is this little tiny probe coming way over to the side. I don't think that's going to be for proxies. Probably just going to hide it and then scout a little bit later on.
Ooh, look at the build from TY. A quick third CC. He comes into game 5. He's not scared to take risks against Deer.
Wow, I mean, and that is a very bold decision, Brendan, because you just died to 2 very tight timings. He's like, well, what if I just made less attacking units? I mean, Deer's sitting up there with 500 APM and nothing to do with it, so we'll see how much damage this early Oracle gets done. Otherwise, it'll be interesting if Deer wants to hit another one of those timings based on what this Adept sees.
Well, we'll be able to fight against the Reaper alone. Trying to take good trades here. And kills a Marine. Will have to back off now, though. See, Engineering Bay is on the way. Wants to get those safety turrets out that he has been making every single game, basically, here against Deer.
When he makes the safety turrets, and I guess, you know, I get that, okay, it's safe against, you know, things like DTs, but mostly oracles. That's early oracles. Phoenix to come out afterwards. And yeah, there go those safety turrets up, and pretty locked down for now for TY. I mean, you know, as much as he did scout in our last game, he just didn't see the Colossus incoming in time. And as soon as he did, he threw up those three bunkers that were just seconds too late. So maybe TY gonna commit a little bit more to the scouting, and he will actually save that Reaper. So he'll live to scout another day.
He doesn't see the third CC, but he sees a lack of production. You go in there and you only see 2 barracks. At this point in the game, you're like, what? What is going on? This is weird. And he is going to put down a pylon, in fact. Twilight Council finishes.
Okay,
and it will be
Glaive's on the way.
Glaives.
I mean, there's been a lot of Phoenix production, so Phoenix Adept looks like the build of the hour, but with the third base coming up, Deer is going to play for a longer game.
I wonder what the pylon is for then. I mean, he's making another gateway over there, so he's committing heavily to some kind of attack, but he's making the Nexus. Maybe he's letting it get scouted, maybe? No, I mean, he turns the Phoenixes around now.
I mean, if this is the MC and we say cancel on that base, then I am just going to, I don't know.
Pull back the curtain. It's actually MC in the base.
Whoa.
Deer gets suspended.
MC's like under the table with another keyboard. He's playing for him. They're both playing Archon mode. Oh my god. Getting a couple of nice little snipes there, and I love the preemptive bunker and a wall coming down with those depots just in case.
Yeah, I like the safety here from TY. I mean, he's been hit by so much weirdness by Deer that the fact that you go for a third orbital as well, you need to play it safe against the Protoss. There's a reason why you don't necessarily ever see some kind of risky build like this. And Deer sees the third orbital, rather. Does not have 3 oracles. That would be pretty crazy.
Waiting for those glaives to complete. Third base is up and being saturated, but still want to see what Deer's plan is. And that is a wall. That's not one wall. That's like 3 or 4 walls all at the same time. Good job being annoying, but that is a lot of adepts, Brendan.
He's coming on in, and I think against those Marines alone, he definitely can take the trade, especially with these Phoenixes, but with the bunker and all the SCVs, no. So he will pull back.
4 more coming up. Third base denied. It's going to be pushed back, and if this goes down, that would be a little rough to deal with. See if DY can save it. Looks like it is in a good place. Okay, I mean, there it is, landing in the base. Turns out Phoenixes don't actually deal that much damage to command centers.
So the interesting spot for TY is that generally when you're going up against this composition, you want ghosts, right? That has become the answer for Terrans nowadays, but he's in such a weird spot with the third CC that he made that, you know, he can't land it because the Protoss is here with this Phoenix Adept army. He's barely surviving, but he doesn't have the answer to this. But Deer, he comes on in. He's going to be right underneath the Liberator. In comes the Phoenixes, though, trying to help out here.
Yeah, Liberation Zone, pretty good for a while as long as it lasted, but now circumventing that wall up at the front, he's still going to have to deal with a ton of Marines, and it looks like TY has everything that he needs.
Yeah, just enough here to come on in and clean this up, and I feel like a bit of a mistake there. Going too far was Deer, actually, to shade everything on in right underneath. He does have kind of a contingency plan. He is saying, okay, a backup plan. I do have this third base, and he has been chrono boosting pretty much only probes, but he would have been in a much better spot if he denied the third base for longer and forced TY out to him while also having the third base. But instead, he forced the fight on TY's turf, lost the fight, and now he doesn't have much of an army.
Going to be able to take out this gateway proxied by his third. TY hangs on, and at this point, you gotta think he is going to be in a pretty good spot. Look at Deer up to 800 APM. Oh my god. This is, you know, APM he's using to do the incredibly macro-intense act of warping into depths.
Yeah, he's figured that out. He's definitely a very well-practiced skill for this Protoss player. And he's trying to catch some of these units out on the map. He wants to force, you know, TY to back up a little bit, see if he can snipe any of the medevacs. This Liberator, though, there's nothing in position to deal with this. All the Phoenixes were out on the map trying to snipe medevacs, but
having to be careful and respect this big adept force in the middle will force TY to lift up and pull back. This is really interesting. I'm wondering if TY was ever intending to complete that push in general. Just because he was so willing to just leave as soon as he saw adepts. So still getting damage done with that Liberator, actually taking out a total of 6. Look at this, trying to build a wall and defend it. See if he can make Deer pay.
Still a lot of adepts, not too many Phoenixes, but this is so many adepts. Will it be enough though? Doesn't look like it, as TY able to micro back. The Liberators, they just don't die fast enough with not enough Phoenixes that went down earlier on. TY on a very strong 3-base economy, and Deer, again, he's just trying to force it when he does not have the numbers, and he loses pretty much his entire army. Keeps 5 Phoenixes alive, warps in another number of adepts, but has to go back, and now the ghosts are going to make their appearance.
You're exactly right, Brennan. I think with these ghosts might seal the deal, especially with how solid TY is just locking down every single one of his bases. He's got turrets up here. Right as I said, he has no turrets in his mineral line. But yeah, okay, there we go.
He's got 2 of them up towards the front, but none in his mineral line.
That wall is basically impossible to break, and the missile turrets there at the front of it will stop observers from giving, like, you know, vision to the high ground. We don't even see any of those in this game, but with double Robo now on the way, there might be some in our future.
Yeah. Abyssal Reef, kind of a funny map where even though Deer got pretty far behind with his attacks, he still had his third base and, you know, the Mothership Core and enough defense that it's big enough for TY to take long enough to get over there so that Deer can defend. Also, the just structure of the map, the amount of chokes and cliffs that there are, allowed Deer to actually defend here. And that means we're going into a longer game, even after all of that fighting, and even though Deer is down 50 supply, he's hanging on for now. I'm just curious to see how he's going to handle the big attack with all of the ghosts and the almost maxed out army of TY coming in here, even adding another starport for the follow-up of Vikings or Liberators, whatever he needs to deal with the Protoss units.
More big gateway warp-ins in the back, and it looks like TY, a merciful god, will at least allow Deer to have one more chance at coming up with an answer to the TY problem. Plenty of ghosts now on the way, coming out 2 at a time. I think he actually has stopped ghost production, but either way, now getting up to a 4th base on both sides. Deer going for a planetary.
I like that TY doesn't just run it on in. Instead, he waits for +2, and also takes a 4th base, waits until he's almost maxed out. Wants to build his Liberator count too, and make sure that he has enough energy on these ghosts to come on in and get the necessary EMPs. EMP's a good chunk over there, and no real response here by Deer. The majority of those adepts and all of the sentries have been EMP'd.
Yeah, and Ghosts are actually really good at dealing with Adepts, especially when they are shield-less. Moving forward there, Liberation Zones will prevent those Adepts from shading on top of this army, and boom goes the Nexus.
Down it goes. Gonna lose a bunch of SCVs over here, but it doesn't really matter at this point in the game. It's really about these armies clashing. Deer does not have enough. Another EMP for good measure, and GGTY takes game number 5 and takes the series.
Nice, and does it very solidly. He had to defend a lot of Adept pressure early on. Deer winning those 2 games, really surprising. Not just that he was able to win games, but just how he did it. I mean, he bopped TY like super hard the first time, and then the second time just catching him right before those 3 bunkers came down. Deer looked good, but TY looked better, and I think that is kind of the showcase for why we do best of 5s now instead of best of 3s, just to allow the better player to come out on top. And I mean, TY still would have come out on top in the best of 3, but
probably, you know, or maybe he would have made battle cruisers and decided that he doesn't want to win
units, man,
and then he loses.
Big fan.
But either way, I mean, Classic does, or rather, TY does win. Classic was the guy that actually beat TY yeah, that's the connection. There we go, we did it. But anyway, the TY does take the win here and does start off well in the second stage. This is kind of what we were expecting again. I didn't expect it to go to game 5 though. Deer, some cute builds. I wouldn't personally call it like bopping him, but that's the way it looked in the games. You know, the way with the units they crash into each other. But like
that's a good distinction, right?
I feel like, you know, it was definitely an interesting timing that he hit. I don't think TY was ready for it at all. I think that was more TY's mistake with the build that he was choosing, especially in game number 2.
Right. I think the only real like bop tonight was the Cloak Banshee GG in Ryung versus Hero, where he just sees the cloak and insta GG is like, okay, I'm out.
It's like, okay, that's it. Yeah, nothing I can do.
But yeah, really strong victories from Deer, great timings, but I just love watching how solid TY is in the face of a very aggressive opponent, just kind of crossing all of his T's and dotting all of his I's, and as Wolf would say, all of his lowercase J's as well. Just super solid, and comes out on top, wins the final best of 5 of the night. So
I feel like at the end of it all, everything that we said kind of came true. If you want to rank us in terms of our prophecy rating, Hero definitely the favorite there against Ryung, takes the victory. We said that Byeon Classic was extremely even, could go either way. Byeon ends up winning it in 5 games that were very close. And then TY does win. I feel like that's maybe where we failed in our prediction. I thought it was going to be a 3-0. Turned out that Deer was actually able to sneak a couple more games than I was expecting. And here is our current ranking for Stage 2 of SSL Classic.
All right, and of course the set score will matter as far as points are concerned. It won't matter as far as money. Winners will get 300,000 won. Losers get 200,000 won. So some big winners here tonight. Hero, TY, and Byeon is going to do it for Week 1, the SSL Challenge Stage 2.
Yeah, next match, next Saturday will be Classic versus Deer for the PvP, Byeon versus Hero for the TVP, and then Ryung versus TY. That's going to be the sick one for me, the TVT between Ryung and TY.
Yeah, I definitely think Ryung has a big chance at taking that one. We'll need to maybe improve from that mental boom that it looked like he was experiencing earlier on tonight. Had some struggles versus Hero, but yeah, going to be mixing it up. We're going to have some PvPs and TVTs instead of just all TVPs. No Zergs, unfortunately, but still some great matchups coming up.
Yeah, we have some other matches too here at SSL. SSL Premier will be coming in 2 days. Me and Wolf, it is going to be Stats versus Byeon, Mar versus Patience, Solar versus Dark, Zest versus Alive, SOS versus Innovation. I think Solar versus Dark, the rematch, is going to be pretty sick, but also Stats versus Byeon is going to be fantastic.
And then it's off to Brood War land with the SSL Classic. Big match for me is going to be Rain versus Effort there. Effort has really been looking super great. Narrowly was eliminated from ASL, but it looks incredibly strong. And so watching him play off against Rain is just going to be the icing on the cake of a great day of Brood War.
Yeah, so was a good day of games today.
Indeed it was.
We had almost the max. We had 14 out of 15 maximum games. So
well, to be fair, a lot of the games were very short.
Especially the first series.
Yeah.
That one like flew by like a generic airplane.
if we get 15
Quite literally.
long macro games, then we're going to have a bad time. But I had a great time tonight, and I hope everybody out there did as well. If you have any more questions or comments, or you're watching this VOD later on and want to let us know something that you thought about, hit us up on Twitter at RapidCasting and at Brendan Valdez, and we'd love to hear what you have to say about tonight's broadcast. If you want to follow any action or information regarding SSL, you can follow at SpoTV_games, or if you want it in English, it's at SpoTV_games_ENG.
Yeah, they actually put all of the information about anything SPO related.
You guys want to know when I'm...
Pretty much anything, like 10 questions, 10 answers, Premier, Classic, Challenge.
It's all up there.
Yeah, anything involved.
All right, well, I think that's going to just about do it for us here tonight. So have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. I don't know how tasteless this is, but have a great night, guys. Thanks for watching.
I know you write me up.